So, having been a physical therapist since, I guess, 1958, I'm
Yes,
sure you have seen,
1958.
yeah, I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes in the way continuing education courses are being delivered. How do you think Con Ed courses have changed from what you saw back in the 60s to now?
Well, in many ways, there really weren't many continuing education courses when I graduated. Um, Very few programs. And some of them were actually, you had to go to the site where the teacher was and spend several days, um, a prolonged period of time learning their particular procedures. Uh, as you said, I started in 1958, so I actually had polio patients. The vaccine came out while I was in school. So and the reason why I mentioned that now is because it wasn't until the sort of polio went away and the major treatment groups became neurological patients. And the big difference between the neurological patient and the polio patient is you knew what was wrong, causing their movement problems in polio because their muscles went away because of the loss of the spinal neurons. In the neurological patient, no one had an idea of what caused the movement dysfunction. So what that did was lead to the development of a lot of systems of intervention. Different people developed different treatment methods, the Bobaths, Brunstrom, Rude. And so all of a sudden there was a need to try to teach already graduates, already practitioners, what these systems were. So physical therapy at that point really became very focused on treatment methods, treatment regimes by some kind of expert. And basically the same thing happened with the manipulative or the manual therapy. So that sort of started the continuing, it laid a basis for the continuing education. And of course, we also weren't making much money, so you couldn't run around to all kinds of different places to take Con Ed courses. So most of what you were exposed to was through your chapter meetings or your district meetings, and a speaker would come in and sort of give you an orientation. So obviously, huge changes from then. People actually, because physical therapists became very valued, and I to be perfectly honest, in many ways, because we made money. We actually, when particularly after Medicare came in, we were really a source of revenue. So to be able to hire physical therapists because we didn't have enough of them, employers paid for continuing education. So when employers began paying for continuing education, then that spurred the increase in continuing education and the opportunity to go and take courses from people. And then eventually more people moved around. I would say in the 1980s, there was a little bit of attempt to try to record, provide continuing education that people would buy a package program and watch it on their own, as compared to going to a course or hiring a lecturer to come in. So that really spurred the growth of continuing education courses. And then topics also increased over time that were germane to physical therapists or that they wanted to know about. So opportunities, money being made, more people acquiring the expertise to do it. And of course, today it's an amazing number of courses. I mean, there are large corporations that offer pages and pages of continuing education courses. At first, the first big burst were when people were sort of coining the programs, like we had the McConnell technique from Jenny McConnell in Florida, and you still have like the Maitland courses. pretty much they were aligned with a particular individual, but now it's a lot of topics. Almost anything you want to know, you can find a continuing education course. And then within the association, the different academies now are offering pre-recorded all kinds of continuing ed. Certainly the pandemic and the opportunity for Zoom kind of courses and recording, people getting used to that has spurred additional large growth. So we've gone from nothing to an amazing amount of opportunity for continuing education courses.